Rock stars, Eric Andreas, your guitar sage here. Welcome to the Guitar Show. It is January the 11th. Welcome to 2022. It's going to be even better than 2021. That's right. I really, truly mean that. My life is fantastic. I'm very happy. I'm very up. I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad that you guys are here today. I'm glad that you're alive. I'm glad that you're happy. We're going to have a blast today. We're going to be talking about writing your own song. We're going to be talking about the relationship of melody, notes, individual notes, over chords. We're going to talk about common chord progressions that you're going to find replete in rock, blues, jazz, country, all. See? And I'm going to unravel lots of stuff to you in a very real layman's term way. Now, or layman's way. There's a few little definitions, a few little things that we need to delve into before this will make any sense to us, but I promise you that by the end of this hour, you guys are going to be so happy with yourselves because you're going to understand that creating a song is way easier than you think. Way easier, okay? Creating those melodies, creating those chords, putting them together and having them sound fantastic. We just need a little bit of a template, okay? And some people find this by ear automatically. Some people find it through osmosis, through just listening to music enough, picking up the guitar, not that chord, but this chord, that sort of thing. And that's great, but sometimes they don't know how to recreate it without kind of happening upon it and thinking that it's pure inspiration, right? So we'll talk about that. We'll dispel some of those myths, some of that folklore and that sort of thing today. We're going to have a blast. A few orders of business very quickly. Friends, if you like these videos, you're doing me a solid if you will like the video. At the very least, please like the video. If you have a buddy who will do well with this and would like, share the love, right? Like when a bird finds some food, it screams out for all the other birds to come out and eat the food with it. You do the same. It's a kind thing to do. That's why we have sharing, right? This year is going to be very different as far as videos from your Guitar Sage, so it's a good time to sub if you haven't already. I'm sure everybody here has subbed already, but if you have not, you're stumbling across this, or you're from my Udemy course or something like that, then please subscribe, hit the notification bell, because if you don't, you're just not going to be notified about stuff. YouTube is really tightening the reins on that sort of thing, okay? So make sure you do that, okay? Here's what I was going to tell you. As far as new videos, there's a few orders of business here. We'll be getting into the lesson here in about 2 minutes. As far as videos for this year, we're going to start doing videos again. Last year, I think we did less than 5, was it, Mike? I think it was like three or 4 videos. It was crazy. The reason that we did that, I've had a couple people say the audio is low, but I think that's probably there. I'm sure.
No, I turned it up.
Yeah. All right, so, because last year we were doing lots of reconstruction, building the site more, making that better, lots of different things that we were doing. It was absolutely necessary. I'm sorry that I had not been as busy as I've normally been the last 12 years before that on YouTube, but friends, there's a good reason for that, and it was what we were doing, building the systems and what have you that we've built last year. 2022, we got all those systems in place. Now you're going to be seeing lots of new videos from me here on YouTube, okay? As well as everything else, because we've got things organized. We got rid of the fat. We created a nice lean machine here, and I'm very happy to let you know that we're going to be continuing videos again. And I'm going to be doing a nice big Beatles extravaganza over the next, who knows, I don't know. I think it's going to be a series. I'm probably going to teach literally every Beatles song that there's ever been, along with all the other good stuff that I do. But I'm going to be sharing that with you there this year, okay? So subscribe. A couple other things really quickly. If you're watching on YouTube, the very first link in the description of the video, you'll have to click that little arrow down to the right there that's underneath the video, and that'll propagate the description of the video. You'll see that. You'll click on the very first link. That's going to bring you to the page that's going to give you three very important things. Number one, It's going to give you access to the PDF that I've created for you today that's absolutely going to explain everything very clearly to you. If you don't get it, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like not getting the bonus, not getting the good stuff, the stuff that you're really, truly going to learn, okay, is going to come from that today. Super important to get that PDF. It's absolutely free. You don't have to register for it. Number one, that's at the link right underneath that video, okay? Number two is you're going to get access to 88 to 92% off, depending on what part of the country you're in. The very cheapest, the very most affordable way that you can get the best selling songwriting course in the Udemy platform, and probably on the internet at this point, because Udemy is pretty much the king of all this, right? So that's Melissa Pierce's songwriting course. My beautiful bride, she couldn't be here today. I wanted her to be here today. She's writing for Nelly today. How about that? Super cool. So you can have access to that. Click on that link and it will give you access. The code will be right there. Number three, it's going to, on that same page, you'll have access to the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. Most of you beautiful folks have gone through this already because it gives you a firm foundation for all the stuff we're talking about today, right? It's very difficult to teach somebody something that's even slightly more advanced if they don't have those basics covered. Most guitar players don't have those basics covered. They think they do because they're like, yeah, I know the basics. And then they stumble on this stuff and we're still in kind of basic land there, right? So make sure you go through that course. It's there for you for free, 30-something lessons with PDFs and everything else. I'm giving it to you. So like, why wouldn't you take advantage of it, right? All that is in the link below this video, okay? Now, we're gonna get into this. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm just gonna cover some real basics. I'm gonna go fairly fast because I've done this many times with you guys, but we have some new folks here. So we gotta cover the basics, and anything that's going over your head today, because I'm gonna be doing it fast, is covered in the free course that I'm giving you today, the very first link below. You're going to go to that page. You're going to see the top 30 videos. Once you go to that link, and I'm going to teach you the basics of diatonic harmony. Let's talk about it real quick. Diatonic harmony is harmony, or the music theory as it relates to the major scale. What's important about the major scale, Eric? I'm so glad you asked. The major scale is literally 99.99% of all the music that you ever hear, be it rock, blues, jazz, country, gospel, go down the list, okay? It's based on diatonic harmony, or the major scale. Even if it's in a minor key, it's based off the major scale. I describe that more to you inside the course. We can't go into every single little bit. You're just gonna have to believe me at some point here, okay? The major scale goes like this, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or better yet, using the number system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And we can find this by using the formula that I cover in that course that goes like this. Take any note, doesn't matter what it is, I'm gonna grab this note. And I'm just gonna go whole step, right? Difference between one fret and the next is a half step. Two half steps is a whole step. Two halves make a whole. So here we go. So we're gonna start on one note and we're gonna go whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay? That right there, friends, if you know only one thing, if you know one thing about music theory, it's know your major scale. If you don't know it, you basically have a bicycle with no wheels on it. You can't do anything. At least as far as replicating things and understanding it, okay? You can't really do anything with it. Yeah, you can play chords and just be like, my dad taught me this song, but that's all I know. Well, yeah, that's not all you know because you don't understand the mechanics of music, and it's so easy. It's elementary. If I can get it, and it took me 5 times to get through algebra in college, you can get it. I can promise you this, okay? So you gotta know the major scale. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, those are our notes. When we're talking about music, we have chords playing in the background, right? Some sort of chordal structure, and then we have a melody on top of it with a singer or a soloist or something, right? Playing a melody over the top, a single line. And those two things match 100% of the time, friends. I'm gonna say 99.99999999999% of the time, except for that one kid who was playing in the wrong key on stage and was soloing in the wrong key. With the exception of that one kid, all music, all melody, and all chords, they coincide. They work together. They're in the same key. There's sacred geometry going on in that stuff, okay? Because when we hear a song, it's got these chords all over it, with all these different notes and all these different strings and what have you. We're really just playing the same 7 notes over and over and over again in the same combinations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this note here is the same as 1, right? It's the root. So it's the same notes over and over again. Another thing that's true is that the chords based off of each one of these notes in a major key goes like this. A major 1. So what I'm doing is I'm taking these notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm adding a chord to it. So the first one is major, major 1. The 2 is minor. You don't have to memorize this or write it down. It's in the PDF I'm giving you today, first link below. Number 2 is a minor chord. Number 3 is a minor chord. Number 4 is a major chord. Number 4 is a major chord. Number 5 is a major chord. Number 6 is a minor chord. Well, I'm going to play it instead of here. I'm going to play it down here. 6 is a minor chord. 7 is a diminished chord, and then back to our major chord, okay? Now, I have that for you in the PDF. Why is that important? It's important because 99% of everything that you're going to listen to, anything that you're going to hear, anything that you heard as a kid that you will hear until, until forever, is based off of this major chord progression or major scale and the chords that are made up because of the harmony of that. When we're talking about harmony, we're talking about stacking notes, right? So you have a 1, a 3, a 5, and that makes a G major chord, right? And so there's certain rules that you can learn later on, or if you have the Unstoppable Guitar System, you're in there already, you're doing that. Now these chords, now we have the major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and major. So if we took 1,000 songs and we broke them down, we would find out that 999 of them are going to stick into that basic structure there, okay? We can go outside of that if we want, but when we do, we're bending or kind of breaking some musical rules. There's nothing wrong with breaking musical rules, but what I mean by we're changing the schematic. Let's not even say breaking rules, because that sounds bad. We're not breaking any rules. We're changing the basic schematic, and there's nothing wrong with that. I always describe a child who's painting a picture and he draws a yellow sun, right? Everybody knows the sun ain't yellow. It's white, right? It's pure white. But we say it's yellow, right? The kid drew a red sun or a purple sun, but it was in the proper place in the sky. In context, you would know what it is that they're talking about. So there's not like, what is this? It's a red sun? You know the sun's not red. No, it's not like that. It's art, right? So we can stretch art. We can do whatever we want in it. So don't be afraid of that. They're not rules. It's just like what's usual, okay? But let's start with what's usual. Let's start with what is often and work out from there. If you try to leapfrog that, you're going to trip over yourself because you don't know what makes up the normal schematic of things, like basic anything. When you're studying architecture, when you're studying art, when you're studying music, when you're studying biology, anything, you've got to start with the basics, the structure, the foundation. Otherwise, you're a fool to try to skip over that stuff, right? So let's not be fools. Let's do it the right way, okay? So now that we know this, I'm going to bring you to a couple things here. This first thing, this is part of the PDF that I'm telling you about, right? Yep, thanks, Mike. So let's bring that up on the screen here. First off, I'm just going to read this real quick because it's important, and I'm sure I put something in here that's real important. Okay, oftentimes musicians will use what's called, hold on. Okay, this part is really important here, okay? Contrary to what most people understanding of music, the same chord progressions are reused over and over and over again, right? They're stolen. This has happened for hundreds of years, and it's just because they sound good, okay? If you would like to be the guy who says, well, I'm not using those same chord progressions anymore. Go for it. No one's probably going to really want to hear your music because it's not going to sound good. There's a reason that these things sound good. It's not trend because it's trendy. I mean, trendy in that it's trendy, but that's not how it became trendy. It became trendy because it sounded correct. Okay, in the same way that lots of things are that way, where they naturally happen that way because it works. Okay. I said chord progressions are not copyrightable. Lyrics and melodies are, however. So that being said, these thousands of chord possibilities, more often than not, are the same chord progressions, are used over and over and over and over and over again. So you don't have to be afraid of literally stealing these chord progressions, because you're not really stealing them. You're just literally, it'd be like you saying somebody else has a house in your neighborhood and it's got the roof on the top and the door up front. Would you copy them? No, it's just kind of a logical place to put those two things, right? So same thing with these chords. Oftentimes musicians will use what is called the number system, which I'm going to show you in just a minute, to notate the chords often to their rank, okay? And I'm going to skip this next part because I'm just going to tell you in my own words. Okay, yeah, so now what I mean by this is, and we'll get to that other stuff here in a minute. Look, some people will say, no, I don't need the number system. That whole relationship on the chords, I don't need that. That just gets in the way. That is someone who doesn't understand music. Okay, what I mean by understand, they don't understand music in the full way that they could understand it. And what's even more sad is they don't know what they don't know. It's embarrassing for them. So when they say that, it's a limited mindset. If you say, man, I know how to play guitar. Look, G, C, D, that fool teaching the number system, what an idiot, man. Just tell me what the chords are, right? It's a very limited understanding because they don't understand the rank of these chords. Let me show you what I mean by this, okay? So we're looking at this chart here, and I remember how I did the number system, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to 1. That will bring us back to do, the 1, the root, the tonic, the sun in the middle of the solar system with all the planets wrapping, spinning around it. It's literally the core. It's everything that it goes back to, okay? So if you're in the key of A would be the tonal center. If you're in the key of C would be the tonal center. If you're in the key of E would be the tonal center, and so on and so forth, okay? That's your tonal center. Each one of these is a different key. We could also look at the minor versions of these, but I'm going to show you why it is that we don't necessarily need to do that. You're going to have to learn twice as much if you do that. I'm going to show you how to do it all from the major scale, which is how Nashville, the amazing and arguably the most best musicians in the world are here in Nashville. They think so quickly because they have a system. When you have a system, you get things done very quickly. Okay, so this number system allows us to understand what the rank of a chord is. Okay, don't get freaked out by this. This is baby stuff. This is elementary stuff. I promise you. You just got to believe me, and you got to work with me here for a sec. Watch. In the key of C. Let me back up 1 second. I've said it before. Rank means something if you know what the rank means. So for instance, if you are a colonel in the Army or you're a private in the Army, your name could be Colonel Smith, your name could be Private Smith. In fact, Colonel Smith could be working with Private Smith, and they have the same last name. Does that mean they're the same? Well, not according to the ranking, right? One is superior to the other, and that part is important. Now, throw both those guys in the ocean, a shark doesn't care what that ranking is. So you're that guy who doesn't know the number system. You're the shark. You just don't care what the ranking is. And so because of that, it's not going to help you, okay? But in this case here, if we know the ranking of something, it's very important. It really helps us. So in the same way, look at this. In the key of C, a C is a 1. In the key of G, a C is a 4 chord. In the key of F, the C is a 5 chord. And all three of those C chords are the same C that I would strum right here. They sound the same. But what's not the same is how it relates to the other melody or to the other chords you're playing and the melody, okay? That's absolutely crucial. And friends, if you can understand that real basic concept, that's literally everything, or at least 99% of everything that you would ever need to know about music. This is why you see me teach this stuff over and over and over again, is because it's literally the foundation. I'm telling you, learn it. Your life's going to be so much better. Your musical life's going to be so much better if you do this, okay? So now there's our C chord. It's the same C chord everywhere. But if someone says, just tell me what the chord is, they don't understand the relationship of those chords. Now, if I took a song, or now let me point you to another place on here. You can see the scale number right here at the top, and then you can see what chord is usually represented by that note. What I mean by usually is 99% of the time, okay? We can change this, but we're changing the natural schematic of what we call diatonic harmony, or harmony as it relates to the major scale. And it's okay to do that, but let's learn it the pattern way first, and then we can break out from there, okay? So if we took this chord progression that says a 1, 4, 5, as Nashville musicians call it, then we would know, okay, if someone says play a 1, 4, 5 in the key of C, then we would know we'd have a C, an F, and a G. C, F, and G, right? There's our 1, 4, 5. If someone said play a C, F, and G in the key of G, then here's our key of G, and the chords would be G, C, and D. Okay? Now, why is that important? Well, for many reasons, because now we understand a little bit about rank, because the 4 chord a lot of times wants to lead to the 5 chord, and the 5 chord oftentimes wants to go back home to the 1 chord. Right? You know this from a what kind of view? From a very like natural, just like listening to songs, like, hey, I like that song. The stuff that you like about that song is the way the cadence moves, the way those chords move, the way those chords resolve, the way those chords create tension and then resolve. But now we're seeing behind the scenes. We've removed the curtain and we're seeing why that is, how that works, okay? It's kind of like if you've watched chemical reactions as a kid, mixing vinegar and baking soda. You could do that your whole life and be like, that's so cool, I love it when it does that. But then in chemistry class, you learn why specifically it is that those two things react the way that they do, okay? So here, we've got the red chords as minor, we've got the green chords as major, and we got the 7th chord as diminished. We really don't use this 7th chord very often, okay? So again, we could use it, but I'm trying to make things easier for you. We have to cut out things that we just don't use very often, at least at the start, to make things easier. And then later on, which I got 1,000+ videos in the Unstoppable Guitar System. We delve down into all the stuff, the jazz, the swing, the extended chords, all that stuff. But we've got to get the basics, okay? So now, with that being said, as I mentioned in this PDF that you get for free by clicking that link and going to the first link in this description of the video to bring you to the page that will give you that course and give you the PDF. All that stuff is going to help you, and you're going to understand the basics of these things. But one of the things that I talk about in this PDF here is I talk about some of the chord progressions that are very common. Here are some of those very famous chord progressions. 1-5, 1-4, 1-4-5. These are all styles of songs. 1-5-4, 1-4-5, minor 6. That minor should be over on the 6, not near the 5. It should be over here. Sorry about that. 1-4-5, minor 6, 5. 1 minor 6, 4, 5, minor 6, 1, 4, 5. We could go on, but you notice a theme here is that we're using lots of 1s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. Now, why is that? Well, because the 1 has to be played. The 1 is the theme. It's literally the theme. If the song was Feeling It in the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, you would want him to talk about something in the air. What is it that he's talking about that's in the air tonight? Okay, whatever that thing is, that's the center of the song. It's the title. Think musically is the 1 chord is the title. It's the musical title. It's the musical center that everything else revolves around, always wants to gravitate back to, okay? And the 4 and the 5 are also very stable chords. So with that being said, the 1, the 4, and the 5 of any one key is they're very stable. If we want to add some variety to a song, we can add this minor 6, okay? Let me give you an example of some songs, and I'm going to show you something really cool here in just a moment as well. Your basic 12-bar blues progression is all 1, 4, 5. That's the 1. We're in the key of A. Now here's our D. Right back to the A, and then here's our E. Well, I'm playing these as 7th chords, but essentially they're the same thing. Right? That's all A, D, and E. We could play that in any key. So if we wanted to play that in the key of G, I could go, let's see. Now I want you to be looking on your PDF at the key of G. We don't have to go there now, but just look at that. You know, basically we're looking at G, C, and D. So here's my G chord. D, and our C, and our G. Right? So all of that is based off of the key of G. Now, if we understand the 1, 4, 5 relationship, we could do this for any key. Makes sense? Now, if we wanted to get fancy and throw that minor 6 in there, then we're going to have another very common chord progression that would be like, and then let me tell you this too, very quickly. When you're looking at our PDF and it says a 1 and a 5 and it says the 1, 4, 5 and it says all this stuff, right? It doesn't tell you what key you're in because it's done so many thousands and millions of times, it doesn't matter what the key is. You pick the key, you pick the tempo, you pick the style of music. This is just basic ideas of how these chords work together. So a 1, 5 could be a G and a D. And we could play it like this. Or we could play it slow. We could go, which is in a different time signature, and a different vibe, and it doesn't matter, it's still a 1 and a 5, right? So you could do any of these in any of the different keys that we're looking at. You could use it in any of the different tempos, any of the different styles, reggae, jazz, blues, rock, country, doesn't matter, as these chords work together like that, okay? Now, let's look at another one. I think I had a 1 minor 6 4 5. This is a very classic, what is this? Would be like a 50s chord progression. We're going to do this in the key of C, so check this out. If I wanted to do it in the key of G, I would just come down to the key of G and I would look for the 1, 4, 5, 6. I say minor 6 because it's just, when you say a C chord, you mean C major. When you say an A chord, you mean A major. So you'd have to say A minor. So I say 6 minor, right? So it's just a little description, a way that musicians talk. So you don't have to do it for the major, but for the minors and diminished and that sort of thing, you should say minor or diminished. So this chord progression of a 1 minor 6 4 5 in the key of G would be 1 minor 6 4 5. But we're going to play it in the key of C. 1 minor 6 4 5. Okay? It's a little cheat sheet for you, but eventually through the methods that I teach you in on the Unstoppable system, you're going to know this stuff. I don't look at this sheet. I don't need to. It's in my brain. Okay? Or I can figure it out really quickly. So, if we were in the key of C, you might hear a classic 50s progression like this. That's a 1, minor 6, 4, 5. Okay? So, now we could do that, we could move that to the key of G, and we could do the same thing. So here's a G chord, E minor, C, D. and that's a 1, 6 minor, 4, 5, right? Make sense? Okay. Now I noticed that some of you noticed that I have a different guitar today. You haven't seen this one in a while, but you're going to be seeing it a lot more. This is my my Faith guitar. This is called a Bloodmoon, and I lusted after this thing on the internet for some time, and the kind folks at Faith Guitar set me up with one. I absolutely love it, and so if you want to know more about that, I do have a link in the description of this video. It's kind of further down. You got to look for it. But makers of super fine guitars, and I love this one. So now, what else do I need to show you here? I think I want to get to some questions, but hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I know that's like being fed by, or quenching your thirst with a fire hose, but I want to jam pack this stuff in here for you because I'm giving you all the other tools inside of UGS Standard for you to fill that out if some of this doesn't make sense or if you don't believe me or something like that, right? So, one other thing I want to show you really quickly, actually, is I want to show you that I'm not a liar, okay? I want to bring you to a really cool website called Hook Theory, okay? It's called Hook Theory. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. I just think they've created a great product, and it's free. So take advantage of it. Hooktheory.com, and this specific page that I'm looking at is hooktheory.com/trends. And I'm going to show you something pretty amazing. Watch this. You can pick any key that you want, but I'm going to pick the relative key, and that, again, is the numbers, okay? I'm going to do it both ways here, but what this does is it says, okay, if I start a song on the 1 chord, what is the next most probable chord? And this is from, I think they have like I think they used 7,000 popular songs to come up with these statistics. Okay, 7,000 popular songs, probably all the songs that you know and love or have heard. And because of that, they broke all this down using, artificial intelligence, and now we can see what these chords reveal. Super magical stuff. Are you ready? Watch this. So for instance, if I'm going to start a song and I'm going to play the 1 chord first, and I click on that, then it breaks it out, and it says, okay, if you're on the 1 chord, it can go to any one of these other chords very easily, okay? Now, we see that there's other, and that would break out to many other chords. There you go. Whoa, that's crazy. So let's go back. We're going to go back to the 1, because we're going to keep it simple for just a moment. What's also very cool about this is, if you look on the right here, it'll say, hey, all of these chords start off with the 1 chord. Well, probably 90% of all the songs you've ever heard in your life start off on the 1 chord, so that's not telling us that much. But let's say, let's do the chord progression that I just did, okay? Or actually, let's pick it according to the statistics here. So they say, if you hit a 1 chord, the next most probable chord, it's not other, because other gives you that, right? That doesn't really help us so much. It could. You may delve down that rabbit hole if you want to, try some new other cool chord progressions. But if we're talking about a chord, one single chord that's the most used chord, we can look. We got a 2 chord at 6%, 5, 10, 19, 25%. The 5 chord is next. Boom. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that next. Hold on. Something screwy here. Okay, so let's try this again. We're on the 1 chord, then the next chord is going to be my 5 chord. Oh, boo, it's not working for some weird reason. Oh, I'm touching the wrong part here. Hold on. Let's do that. Okay, so now we got a 1 chord, and it points to the 5 chord. Now what's our next most common chord? Well, it's either the 4 chord or the 6 chord. So let's do that. And then what would be the next most common chord? Well, look, that 4. This is literally the most used chord progression out of any chord progression in those 7,000 songs. Now, let's see what are some songs that actually use that chord progression. Since these are those plain chords, you guys are probably saying to yourself, well, we're just going to get plain, dorky, elementary, stupid songs, right? Yeah, let's look at some of those stupid songs that didn't make millions of dollars and aren't the ones that are our jams, right? Someone Like You by Adele, that's a unknown song that you guys probably never heard of. Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne, Complicated by Avril Lavigne, What's My Age, Blink 182, Living on a Prayer, another unknown song, Grenade, never heard of it. I'm joking, of course. These are all smash hits, Jar of Hearts, Time After Time, all built off of the 1, 5, 6, 4 chord progression, 1, 5, 6, 4. Now we could do this and we could change this to the key of C if we wanted to too, or change it to whatever key you want, and then it tells you. Now it doesn't tell you the exact key that these were in, but what it does tell you is the basic chord progression and how it goes, okay? C, G, A minor, F. If you wanted it in the key of G, you could do that. So this isn't stealing, friends. This is just basic understanding of how music works. Isn't this so cool? I love that. When I discovered this website, I was like, dang, man, this is so fun. So you can also do some fun stuff. I wish I was sponsoring this because it's just so cool. So you can do this, and then they'll play the song. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm going to get a copyright hit, but it will play the song off of YouTube in real time, and it will be synchronized with the chords so you can see the actual chords and how they play and the melody line. What? Yes, it will literally change the way that you think about music, okay? Super cool stuff. That's called the Hook Theory. Hick Theory is an entirely different website, but this is called Hook Theory, and yeah, check it out. Pretty cool stuff. So that's how you can use that and some of these other things I'm giving to you in tandem, okay? All right, beautiful. For folks that have just joined us, friends, click on that very first link in the description of this video. It'll bring you to a page that we have that's going to give you 3 amazing things. The PDF that I'm talking about today that's absolutely going to fill in these blanks for you. It's going to give you a free course to the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. Nothing good's for free, and ain't nothing for free. Really? How about the largest, at this point, the largest website on the internet, or the largest guitar course on the internet, the most students in it. Okay, we've had over 500,000 students go through this course because it's so crappy. No, because it's awesome, because it will change your musical life. Go through it. I'm giving it to you for free. Follow that link. And also, you're going to get discount today between 88 and 92%, depending on what part of the globe you're on, or if you're a flat earther, what part of the plane you're on. It will tell you what discount you get. But essentially, it's the most affordable way that you can get the songwriting course that my beautiful bride, I think she's on 20 million albums now, a legitimate songwriter. She's literally writing for Nelly today. This is reason why she couldn't be here. But she created an amazing course, and we're doing that today for $9.99. That'll be good until good until Saturday at 2 p.m. Don't forget it, okay? Click on that link and you're gonna have access to that. All right, I'm going to take some questions here. Before that, here's what I want you to do. I'm talking, you might as well do it. Hit the like button, please. Doing so lets other people know what we're doing here. Hit the share button. If you have not already, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. It will get you access to these videos when we drop them. And this year is going to be a big year for YouTube videos with YourGuitarSage, because we are ramping back up. We were taking care of a lot of back-end stuff that you couldn't necessarily see, a lot of stuff with equipment, bringing the level up for you guys, but we're gonna be cranking out some videos this year, so be looking out for that. Okay, questions officially start right now. I'm now looking at the chat. Hey, Lacey, there's my friend Lacey, so good, yay, thank you, Lacey. If you have questions, leave them in the chat right now, because now is the time. I'm gonna go back just a little bit to see if there's anything. Nelly the rapper or Nelly the singer? Nelly the rapper. Is there Nelly the singer? Yeah, she's like a gal, isn't she? But I don't think it's just Nelly. It's like Nelly Furtado. Nelly the rapper is who it is. Yep. Okay. Thank you, Marine Mama. I know, doesn't it sound beautiful? It plays like a rock star too, and I just love the deep color of it. It's called the Blood Moon. Okay. Oh, good. Drew, thank you. Those 30 free lessons were a tremendous eye-opener. Now I'm going for the pro. Beautiful. Love it. Oh, Kenneth, thank you. Everyone, I want to give mad props to Melissa and Eric. They have completely changed my life from music theory and songwriting aspect. Yeah, love that. So happy. Sweet. This makes so much sense. It hurts. Good. Excellent. Okay, spinning back to the top here. See if we have some other questions. Okay, why can't I scroll? There we go. How do you change it up, though? You don't write an entire song with the same chord progression, at least not the things I listen to. Shay, great question. Right, no, you don't. So maybe you have a song that's like this, and I'm literally just making this melody up. So I'm just like... maybe my melody's like... going to do it short. Now here, in a new section of the song, I would change it up. And I probably wouldn't go straight to the C. My kind of little rule of thumb is to go to a different chord and then work with that. So the end of that phrase there. So maybe I'd go to an A minor here. I'd go to a chorus and I'd get real big there. So in short, what you want to do, Shay, is you want to go to a different chord for those new sections. Or just change the chord progression up. You know, you get to make that stuff up. It's literally that easy. What would be the best electric guitar for me to buy? I already have a Squire Bullet Telecaster. There is no best guitar. There's only what's best for you and your budget. So I cover this in almost the first two lessons inside the course that I give you, Lego Man in Danger. Lego Man in Danger. So check out that course because I show you exactly how to find the best guitar, but for you, because there really is no best guitar. I know we live in the internet age and everybody's looking for the best, but it just doesn't exist. It's what's best for you. Anybody telling you anything other than that is trying to sell you something. I'm not. I'm trying to help you. So watch that. It's a free course, and it will show you exactly how to pick out the best guitar for you, both acoustic and or electric, okay? Know how to play it masterfully or just know the theory and how to play it. You have to let me know if there's a question there, my friend. Okay, Matt. Hey, Matt, I haven't talked to you in a while, bud. Good to see you. Okay. Oh, beautiful. How to improve timing, brother? I really struggle. Thanks for all you do. You have been a big help in my singer-songwriting journey. Yay, love that, River Boy. Thank you so much. So the only way to improve your timing, well, there's lots of ways to improve your timing, but the only way to improve your timing is to work on it, right? Is to practice. The more that you have the guitar in your hands, the more comfortable you're going to be with it, and the more your timing is just going to naturally happen. Also, anything that you're aware of. If you are aware of the way that you eat, you're going to eat differently than if you're being unaware, if you're being unconnected to what it is that you're eating. If you're present in any moment, then that whatever moment you're in, it's going to reveal itself to you. If you're not present with your loved ones, you're not going to be there, right? You're not going to be at the best for them. Same thing with music. If you're just listening passively, nothing wrong with that. I do it all the time. If you're just listening to music passively, then you're just enjoying it, and that's cool. But if you are rapping on the steering wheel, or you're tapping your foot, or you're counting, now you're involved. Now you're actively involved, and your brain is trying to keep in time with that snare, trying to keep in time with that metronome. Nonetheless, any sort of anything like that is going to get you there. Working with a metronome, because you're actively listening to that metronome and you're trying to keep up with it, you're being aware. But the aware is the biggest thing. People don't talk about this. They're like, oh, get a metronome, work with a metronome. Yes, metronomes are awesome. Drum machines are awesome. Tapping your foot's awesome. It helps keep you in time. But it really has to do with being aware and listening, right? Just like if in a conversation, if you're doing this, right, you're listening to what that other person says. If you're on your phone doing this, you're not listening. You're going to miss stuff. You're going to fall out of time. in the same regards, being aware. So if you're aware with music, you will less fall out of time if you're listening across. That's why you'll see jazz musicians or people who are improvising, they do a lot of listening. Once they feel they have the chord progression, they might just take off and now they're driving the ship, it looks like. But for the most part, they're listening to what the rest of the band's doing. When the rest of the band gets quiet, the soloist will get quiet. When the rest of the band gets loud, soloist will get loud because he's following, okay? Even though it looks like he's leading, he's following. Okay, so work with a metronome, Shay. That's going to help a lot. And I cover that inside of UGS. I have videos for that on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage metronome, okay? Does the class thing last forever? Yeah, Lego Man, if you mean when you buy it, do you have it forever? Yes, as long as the internet's here. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. I don't know. Hope not.
If you sign with the free course, that does too.
Oh, the free course lasts forever too. Yeah, you have that forever. Okay? Okay, does it matter which key I ask the chord from? I don't know what you mean by that, friend, but you know, using the PDF that I've given you, no, it doesn't matter in regards to its relationship to the 1, 4, 5 minor 6, you know, relationship, the way those chords are ranked, if you will. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which key you're in, okay? Does the purchase subscription last forever for the songwriting course? Yes, it does, sir. Yeah. All of our courses are that, right? I know there's no rule, but is it better to make the chorus the more common chord progression and your verses perhaps experimental? Shay, yeah. That is a good rule of thumb. Here's the deal. People can get as experimental as they want, but remember, when you're getting experimental, there's a reason why it's experimental. That's the reason why pop songs are racing up the chart and indie artists and experimental artists are not racing up the chart, is because the bulk of people, the population, the popular vote of it, doesn't like those songs. Take it or leave it, be mad about it if you want, but that's just reality. So it is what it is. So if you want to experiment, I would experiment more in the verses and then have that big fat chorus, right? I get knocked down, but I get up again. Ain't nothing gonna keep, right? That's a big old chorus. And then there's pissing the night away, right? There's that kind of weird down verse or whatever. That's what it is. It is what it is. And that's what most people do. The chorus is the big part of the song that everybody remembers at least, right? Is it okay to change the chord progression in the middle of the song? It is, but you typically wouldn't do it in the middle of, say, like a verse, unless there was a reason to, unless it sounded good. And at the end of the day, that's a subjective bit, right? What sounds to you, what sounds good to you may not sound good to me. So go with your gut. Start with what sounds good to you. And I wouldn't question that too much. If you have a bunch of people saying, dude, that song sounds terrible, but you absolutely love it, I don't know what to tell you. I think I'd probably stick with what I love because maybe people just don't get what you're doing. But if a lot of people say they don't like what you're doing, then you may not get a lot of other people saying they like what you're doing. So you just got to be cool with it and just be like, dude, I get it, and I'm going to keep forging forward, right? See Radiohead. They do all sorts of wacky things, and they're extremely popular now, right? The less interesting part, yes, you are correct, Shay. That's another way to put it. Yeah, sure. How to reduce the rubbing sound of lower strings with fingerstyle. My friend, don't worry about that. I only see this question from beginners because pros don't care. If I'm playing and I get this sound, I don't care. It's the guitar, okay? I'm not gonna freak out if my guitar or if my car makes the sound of an engine starting up when I start it in the morning. That's what it does. So don't freak out about that. Don't worry about that. If you want to reduce that rubbing sound, practice more. And eventually you will get to be able to move your chords and be able to move without as much noise. But I mean, you have the winds on the string that are rubbing against your fingertips. So you're going to get that sound, right? But don't worry about that. Don't focus on that. That's not an important thing to focus on. Okay, so Cillian is saying, thanks, Shay. Well, like when I'm doing a line that's like a blues scale run in A, would I then have the guitarist play just an A chord over it? I would think the other way around, although you could start with the melody. Singer-songwriters like Mariah Carey don't play an instrument, they sing, and then the musicians will come in and fill the chords out. But there's a specific, her singing that melody has a specific chord progression or some basic ideas that chord progression is going to do, okay? It's not like you could just throw any chords out underneath there. But usually, Cillian, the way you want to think is the chord progression first and then the melody over the top of it, okay? How do I incorporate intros, solos, and riffs into my songs, and how do I make sure they work with the song? Okay, the short answer is make sure it's in the right key. The long answer is you got to get, that's the short answer. The long answer is very long. It's learning about music, okay? Making sure you're in the right key, making sure that you're in the same style. Like if you're in a major key, you want to be playing the major scale or something based off of the major scale over that. So that part's not really rocket science, but like I said, getting into UGS standards is going to help you understand this more with the answer to that question is covered more from an understanding of how the melody and the chords work together, okay? All right, good stuff. Andy's saying, with a chord progression of C, E minor, G, D, how would this fit into a key? Which chords doesn't fit? How would you think about the one that doesn't fit? Hopefully that makes sense. Andy, let's go back to, with a chord progression like C, E minor, G, D, how would this fit into a key? Okay, let's go back to this. Mike, if we can, go back to the C, E minor, G, D. Let's go back to right here in the key of G. Now notice this, C, E minor, G, D minor. There is no D in this key. So if we had a D in this key, we could do that. There is a such thing as a major 2 chord. Again, we can bend any one of these chords that we can, but in the music world, it's known as a temporary key change or a, oh gosh, what's it called? A borrowed chord. It's also known as a borrowed chord, but it's also known as like it doesn't matter, it's just another name. But at the end of the day, if you had a chord progression that was C, D, G, E minor, yeah, it could be the key of C, but more likely this key has all those built into them, G, C, D, E minor. So most likely it would be in the key of G. So basically those chords being played together would point back to the key of G, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, that's all we need on that one. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so and now when you're talking about playing other chords, see my video on borrowed chords. Search YourGuitarSage borrowed chords for a whole lesson on that, because that's not a quick answer. But technically, you can play any chord in any song. It may not sound good, and in that case, maybe don't use it. If it sounds good, use it. Don't worry about any rule or anything. It's not like you're going to get arrested, all right? They're just rules of thumb, meaning these are the things that are common in music. That's what music theory is. It's just an explanation of what we hear all the time and why it is that it works. That's the layman's definition of it, right? So don't overthink music. If it sounds good, do it. That's why there's tons of musicians out there that just pick up a guitar and they learn a couple chords, 3-4 chords, and they end up playing a bunch of songs. Okay, I had a buddy, he only knew chords in the key of G, and he wrote some beautiful songs, but all of his songs were G, C, D, E minor. Every now and then he'd throw an A minor in there. And he also played the chords with these 2 fingers up here all the time. So he'd play. just kept those two fingers there all the time. It's okay, it became his sound. But you know, there really are no rules. I just tell you these things because they'll help narrow the many, many, many possibilities that you're just never going to use, okay, or hardly ever going to use, you know. Okay, good stuff, good stuff. 4 years ago, when I started playing, I would watch your videos while I was getting ready for work, when I was at work, when I was making dinner, when I was in the shower. You're make learning fun. Thanks. Oh, thank you, Beth. I think it is great fun and to try to write a song in the style of someone well known, just using their chord progressions for your own song. Absolutely. Friends, look, you can write your own song. Let's get back to that for just a moment here. How can you write your own song? What I do, and there's many different ways to write a song. You could start with lyrics. You could start with a melody like Mariah Carey does. You could start with lyrics. You could start with a chord progression. You could start with a drum loop. You could start with many things, okay? It just depends on how you want to do it. There are no rules. So start with something. What do they say? Perfectionism is the destroyer of progress, or something like that. I wish I had a photographic memory, but I don't. But it's something along those lines. Don't try to be perfect with music. There is no such thing. Literally, no such thing as perfect music. It is what it is. It's just music. It's just art. Okay? Paint outside the lines, some if you'd like. But at the end of the day, these chords that I've shown you are a great place to start, because you see that there's so many thousands of amazing songs that you know and love and sing today that fall into this schematic. And the songs that you've never heard or that you don't like are probably the ones that fall outside of this schematic, okay? Now, I'm a big lover of borrowed chords. I'm a big lover of temporary key changes, of modulations, and you know, what I mentioned there when we go outside those diatonic chords. I'm a big fan of that. I use it a lot of times in songs. But for the most part, the majority of the chords that you're hearing don't do that. So let's learn that first, and then we can get weird if we want. But what Martin's saying here is a fantastic project, and it gets the ball rolling. So if somebody said, hey, I want you to write a song in the style of blank. This is what my wife does day in and day out. You know, Tim McGraw says, man, I really love that new song by Kid Rock, but I want it to be a little bit more country than that. So what they would do is they would listen to that Kid Rock song. They'd say, okay, well, here's the beat. The beat's like, and then what they would do is they would make sure that the lyrics were less Kid Rocky and more country or country rocky, okay? And that the lyrics would be that, and that the melody would be that, you know, and maybe there wouldn't be a guitar solo, or if there was, it would be more of a country guitar solo, because at this point, country music is really rock with some twang to it, and that's about it. Used to be country music was totally different. Now it's a little bit more, it's much more rock or pop, if you will. But it's a great exercise, taking an artist and saying, I want to sound like this, and then just coming up with your own thing. It's an exercise. You might find something that is fantastic, and it might just be a project. It might just be something that you worked with, okay, to get you to the next level. But do that. You know, take Pink Floyd, for example, or whoever is your favorite, you know. Maverick, what I mean by borrowed chords is borrowed from the parallel minor key. Or if we're in the major key, it's borrowed from the parallel minor. If we're in the minor key, it's borrowed from the parallel major. But if you really want to know about it, Maverick, search on YouTube, YourGuitarSage borrowed chords, because you need more of an explanation than what I just told you, especially if you don't understand what parallel major minor is. Yes, indeed. Brent, thank you so much. Yeah, there's a link pinned to the top there, friends. If you want to show some love, you can always buy us a coffee. Buy me a coffee using that link there. Just click on that. And this way, Google won't take 30% of it. They won't take anything. So Would love if you did that. Thanks so much. Would this be similar to the circle of fifths? Look, everything in music, from the circle of fifths to the cage system to the major scale to diatonic harmony to everything, it's all related, just like we're all related, right? Just like we're all part of the same cloth, friends. Music is, yes, the circle of fifths has everything to do with everything that we're talking about. Not directly, but indirectly, yes, it does. And everything that music is related to the other thing, okay? How do I fit other chords into the number system? For example, augmented chords, seventh chords, etc. James, I cover this inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. I think I have a YouTube video on it. If you search YourGuitarSage seventh chords, I kind of go over that. But it's a similar pattern to the major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished that I showed you in the PDF that I'm giving for you for free. Those folks who haven't got that, the first link below. In fact, the chords are this. If you wanted to extend them to seventh chords, you have a major 7, a minor 7. So the 1 is a major 7. The 2 is a minor 7. 3 is a minor 7. 4 is a major 7. 5 is a dominant 7th. 6 is a minor 7. 7 is going to be a half diminished, but you're never going to use that, so you're just hardly ever going to use that. And then back to your major 7th chord, okay? That's if you're extending them to the 7ths. Okay? Augmented chords, other chords, we're going down the rabbit hole there, but I cover this in full detail inside of UGS, okay? I'm curious if you ever deal with imposter syndrome, and how do you combat that imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome, I don't. So for those that don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's when you feel like you are fake. It's when you feel like you're an imposter, like you're duping people, like you're selling them a bill of goods, whatever. And Shay, tell me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's what imposter syndrome is. Am I right, Mike? Yeah, imposter syndrome. So I don't have that. I think at one point maybe I did, because I would question, especially like some of the stuff that I would be teaching. I would be like, well, God, I'm not bringing anything new. Well, no one's bringing anything new on the guitar. It's a subject as old as anything, right? I mean, like, what are you teaching new on the guitar? You could teach new things. I mean, the stuff we went over today, there's a ton of people. If you learned something new today, give me a thumbs up. Okay, seriously, give me a thumbs up, or say, yes, I learned something new, or give me a smiley face or something that you learned something new today. But is it new in the universe? It's not. No, none of this stuff is new, but it might be new to you. So what I learned is that people need to be led. They want to be led. There's some that want to be led, and they need someone to help them. And I've taken on that role as far as guitar, because I've been doing that since I was in high school. And so what's an imposter about that, right? It's like I'm just helping people. So no more to know I don't deal with that. Maybe at a certain point in my life I did, but absolutely I don't anymore, okay? That's a great question, though. I like Willie's response here. Yeah. Shay, coping with imposter syndrome would entail boosting confidence, likely through mastery of your chosen pursuit. Very beautiful. If it is adversely affecting your life, seek counseling. Or, yes, I'm fine with counseling, no problem with that. But, dude, going down the rabbit hole and get good at your craft. Get good. Get to be the best. There's that word. To be the best that you can be at what it is that you do, at what it is that you're passionate about, and serve the world. You know, I heard it said, and again, I'm paraphrasing here because I typically don't memorize things word for word, but the amount of service that you give to the world is the amount of money that you make, the amount that you will receive back. So if you're not receiving anything, you're not giving anything. Okay, and I know that's a hard thing for people to say, probably people dropping off right now, but it's absolutely true. Okay, You may not agree with how somebody's serving somebody, but like, take Bezos, for example. He's serving lots of people. You could hate him if you want, but I guarantee you got that Amazon app, and I guarantee you're ordering stuff, and I guarantee you're upset when it doesn't come in 2 days. So he's serving you, and because of that, he's serving lots of people. Because of that, he's making lots of money. Like the guy, don't like the guy, I don't particularly love him, whatever. But he's serving lots of people. Say the same for Elon Musk, except he's a cooler guy. Maybe, I don't know, I think so. But nonetheless, get really good at what you do and serve the world, man. The world needs leaders more than ever right now. Dear Lord, friends, we need some frickin' leaders. So if you have the moxie, if you got the guts, strap up your boots and be a leader. But in order to be a leader, you're going to have to step into that role, and you're going to have to be confident of yourself. Otherwise, you are going to have that imposter syndrome. You are going to be like, I'm a fake. But if you can prove it to yourself that you are by getting good at your craft, getting good at guitar, whatever it is that you want to do, friends, you'll serve the world, and the world will respond to you. I promise. I've never ever seen this happen in the negative way. I've never seen it happen. I've never not seen it happen. How can I say this? I've never not seen that to be true. From people not serving the world and not getting anything to people serving the world, and the world becomes theirs. Okay? Check Bon Jovi on how he's serving. I'll check it out. Okay? All right, friends, that's it for today. Hopefully, you got something out of this. Really, last chance here. Please like, share this video, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. We got lots of amazing things coming up this year, especially lots of new YouTube videos. I have a new piece of gear that is going to help you understand music even more. I'm very excited to share that with you coming up here soon. A few other things, if you haven't already, the very first link below will give you access to 3 very important things today. The PDF that's absolutely going to help you with your songwriting. If you understand this, friends, you're going to crack the code to understanding how to write music in a very easy way. I wish I had had this. It was available to me, but I didn't know what I didn't know, right? I didn't have a guru, I didn't have a leader, somebody who could show me it back in the day. So I'm giving that to you. That's the PDF, very first link below. I'll also give you access to Melissa Pierce's it's literally the best rated, top rated songwriting course on Udemy. It's there for you. It's like 92% off. It's $9.99 normally, like that's very expensive normally. But there you go. And then lastly, have access to Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. It will change your life. Friends, for those that are on the fence about me giving them 30-something lessons for free, would you put in the chat, just say 30. And friends, if you see the word 30 and you haven't gotten into the free 30 there that I'm talking about, Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, that is the universe telling you to get your ass in there. Okay, so do it right now. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to see you in 2 weeks. What do we got, Mike? Anything?
If they're a pro member, we're going to sing that too.
Oh yeah, I'm going live 3 other times today. If you are in the Unstoppable Guitar System at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Yeah, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we're going live for our Unstoppable Guitar System, folks. If you want to be privy to 3 more live lessons from me and be able to talk to me in real time via Zoom, then you can actually join the Unstoppable Guitar System we have a $1 trial. I think, is that still available at YourGuitarSage.com/1? Checking. We're checking on this, friends. There is a way that you can get into the Unstoppable Guitar System and try it out for $1. You have 30 days access to it. Just get out. Yeah, YourGuitarSage.com/1. We'll post that link here in the description. So if you want to join me for those 3 live broadcasts today, and you haven't been inside UGS, you could do that via that $1 trial. It'll give you 30 days access to over 1,000 videos. Just get out before the 30th day if you don't want to be charged a monthly fee, which is $19, or you can buy a lifetime membership, okay? There you go, friends. Love you guys. I'm out of here. See ya.